NHL best bets right here on PuckTime. It is Thursday, April the 9th, and it is Masters time. Oh, wait, wrong show. It's PuckTime. This is hockey talk here, guys. We got some great hockey plays for you. Myself, Andrew McInnis, and Brian Leonard. Carmine, a couple days off. Little load management for Carmine as he's going to get away and then come back ready and more fresh than ever for playoff time late next week. Guys, hope you all had a winning night yesterday. I passed in the NHL. We did go 0-1 in baseball. We hit the free play, so apologies to anybody that joined me on that. But if you guys did and you're not happy, I can set you guys up with something right now for NHL plus MLB. Just reach out to me at McInnis Picks. Brian, it's a big day right now in the sports world for hockey. This is the final, huge Thursday we have of the season. And you know what the odds makers like to do, or the schedule makers, I should say. No games tomorrow, a few games yesterday. But Brian, a big slate today. How are you?
I'm doing well. That's why last time I was on, I told Carmine I'd be on Friday. No, he doesn't have to freak it out. But yeah, it's an interesting day. I just did the baseball show, did a baseball video. There's only 6 games of Major League Baseball today. So hockey, full slate of hockey, and you got to love that. And a lot of key games as we're down to what, five games or something for the rest of the season for some of these teams. And the one thing before we get into the plays, why is the teams that are second and third in the East and third and fourth in the East, second and third in the West, playing each other right now in the hockeys, in the playoffs? They've got to change that. I mean, it's ridiculous. No more division. Take it from the conference and do the best records in the conference. It's just not fair for teams to play this long, get in that position, and then having to play the team right behind you in the standings.
Yeah, it seems like nobody's been happy about it, Brian. We've talked about it a lot on the show. The main thing I'll say, I keep on repeating this, but this is the quote from the commissioner, Gary Bettman. He said, "We have the best first round in sports." And, me and Carm were like, yeah, you probably do, but you probably have the worst second round in sports, right?
Yeah. Half of those teams are going to be knocked out. So yeah, I don't know. Between that and the NCAA tournament expanding once again, I don't see it. Just let everybody in and have a free for all. It'd be like one of those wrestling things where they got all the wrestlers in the ring at the same time throwing each other out. Jesus.
One big battle.
That's right. That's right.
I respect the GMs that have gone ahead and kind of complained a little bit too, like especially Bill Guerin, the GM of Minnesota. I mean, he goes ahead and makes a big trade for Quinn Hughes, and he might have to play Dallas first round, or he is going to play Dallas first round. So that's tough. The big thing is they want rivalries. And that's what they're going to get. That's for sure. So today we're going to look at some big games. I've got my hat on. We'll try and stay unbiased here, Brian, but we have to talk about the Habs and Bolts game. It's a big game today as far as playoff implications are concerned. Lightning, Canadiens, Wild Stars, Sharks, Ducks. Carmine does.
Looks like Andrew's frozen up on us. It's that weather in Canada, I guess. There he goes. Okay.
We back?
You're back.
Okay. So Carmine does have a 6 and 60 Thursday edition for us because no Friday, so he's got some picks there. And then we'll wrap up the show. So, Brian, without further ado, let's jump into it here. Let's get to our first game of the day. Tampa Bay and the Montreal Canadiens. Look, I got the hat on, so I'm going to let you go first. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, we've got Tampa Bay in third place with 102 points, Montreal in fourth place with 102 points. They're tied, although Tampa Bay on the season is a plus 60 on the goal differential, and Montreal at 28. But Montreal, hey, they're playing great, winning 9 out of 10. It's been a team that's played very well as of late. Tampa Bay comes into this. They've actually struggled a little bit lately. They've lost their last 2. Tampa Bay goes on the road after playing Boston at home and Pittsburgh at home. They go on the road to Buffalo. Buffalo beats them 4-2 the very next night. The Ottawa Senators beat them 6-2. So I think we're going to get a nice bounce back here from Tampa. Everybody's fighting for playoff position. They want to have the home advantage. So this is a really important game here, and in other games we're going to talk about too in that regard. But this is the third game in 4 nights for Tampa Bay, all on the road, and the Canadiens have been able to play it all at home. They won their last 2 road games, beating the Rangers and the Devils. They come home, and the Devils got their shutout revenge against them. They beat them 3-0. Then they were able to beat Florida 4-3. So really the last 2 days, even though they've split against the Devils and Florida the last 2 games, that last one was in a shootout, and we all know that Florida right now is playing with the skin and bones of their roster ending the season because of all the injuries, and they're out of the playoffs now. So not too impressive, even though they were able to split those last 2 games. But Montreal's a very good team. They're playing well right now. But if I'm playing this one, I'm taking Tampa Bay. That's the veteran team that knows how to win these type of games. Montreal, I'm very happy for you and Buster being fans of this team. Looking forward to the playoffs. But this is a game here. If you take a look at the rest of the games they play Tampa Bay here. They play Columbus at home in 2 days. And then the Islanders and the Flyers. And the Flyers will probably be totally eliminated by then. Islanders, we'll see. But game is more important to Tampa Bay, and they've lost 2 games in a row, and that's why I believe they're the slight favorite here. We're getting them anywhere from 115 to 120 as a road favorite here.
Yeah, it's hard to argue it, Brian. It really is. The one thing I'll say with this Canadiens team, just from someone that watches every second of their games, is that they're winning games right now, but the coach isn't happy with them, and that sometimes can be a nice thing where it's like you're winning games, but the coach isn't really satisfied. And Nick Suzuki, captain of the team, he said, "I thought I was terrible in that game," and he ended up scoring the game-tying goal. Of course, great play there by Hudson in the last one. But you're coming off a game in which you probably did not deserve to win. Hudson makes a heroic play with 22 seconds to go. They tie the game up, and they end up getting the win. But I'm not gonna lie. You look ever since that they had that home and home last week against the Devils. I believe it was Saturday, Sunday. They haven't looked great since then, but they've won like 10 of their last 11 games or 9 of their last 10 games. So, as a fan, it's a really exciting thing when your team is looking good when they're not playing their best hockey, right? Like when they're not happy with what they're doing. Tampa Bay will not be entering this game happy either. Brian, I've been saying this a lot, and I know I sound like a little bit of a broken record, and maybe I'm taking the scaredy cat route out of this without taking a pick, but I strongly, strongly believe, despite having confidence in the offense of the Canadiens and the top guys for the Lightning, these unders in these very, very meaningful games have been profitable. Just ask the Ottawa Senators. There's been games they put up goals. Don't get me wrong. They're coming off a game they put up goals. But, in a game like this, like, what makes me laugh, Brian, is that there'll be some people that will tell you that players don't care about one game or the next, right? Maybe if it's the middle of November or the middle of December, these guys don't care who they're playing one game or the next. Mm-hmm. But you can probably guarantee that these teams know, okay, on Thursday we're playing Montreal. On Thursday we're playing the Lightning, right? This game means a bit more than for those teams. So for that reason, I kind of like the under here.
The under always makes a lot of sense when you get 2 teams that are heavy checking and everything because the game is important. The only problem is a lot of times it gets out of hand and you get more penalties. And when the game is more physical with more penalties, I know Tampa has been very good on the penalty kill, but I've run into that problem too, is you think it'll be playoff atmosphere. If it starts to get out of hand, a lot of other things can happen and you get more penalties. And then, of course, you don't like the under when somebody has that advantage.
That is true. So that is a worry. It's kind of like, I wish you could bet 5-on-5 goals under 4.5, 5-on-5 goals. Forget about the power plays. Jakub Dobeš, 932 save percentage last 3 games. Vasilevsky, 905 save percentage. The funny thing is, last 3 games, both goalies 2.33 goals against per game. So the exact same thing. The last thing I'll mention about this game here, Brian, we talked about this on our show yesterday. And, this kind of reminds you of what you would talk about even in the playoffs when it comes to futures betting. And at one point, the Canadiens were like plus 440 to win the division. This was only 2 weeks ago, maybe. You now look at the odds coming into this game. You've got plus 110 Sabres, plus 140 Lightning, and plus 475. So obviously it has a lot to do with liability and things like that. But Brian, you've been doing this a long, long time here. Would you agree that if anybody out there likes the Canadiens, that plus 475 win the division is pretty intriguing?
It is. When you're looking at the division, we've got Buffalo at 104 points, Tampa Bay and Montreal at 102. Obviously, you want to look at what the schedule is. Buffalo's a team. I think if it would have been a veteran team, maybe let's say Tampa Bay is in first in the division. They've been there before. They've got playoff experience. It means more to the Canadiens and the Sabres to be able to win this division. So they're the teams that I would think, if push comes to shove, and I mean what could be a meaningless game later on, those are the teams I'd rather back because it's important. You want to be division champs. So I don't think it matters so much for Tampa Bay. So yeah, in that regard, there may be some value in that with that.
And I'll just say this for everybody out there in the chat box and everybody that watches the show, and I want your opinion on this too, Brian. For me, when I watch games, if it's like a game where I just am watching as a fan of sports and not a specific team, I have no problem watching at a bar or pub or wherever at a friend's house. Every Thursday for the last 15 years of my life, I play basketball with the same group of guys. And we go out to the same spot, have wings, have beers, have burgers, whatever. And we usually watch the first period or first 2 periods of games. I don't want to go there after basketball tonight. This game is so important. I want to just go home. And it's so funny because I don't think that any way one fan thinks is better than the other. But for me, this game is so important to me. I don't want to be watching with a bunch of people that don't care like I do. I want to be watching at home in front of my TV on my lazy boy, just by myself. Do you get what I'm saying? If it was a big game, Pittsburgh versus the Islanders, I could watch it out in public. But I kind of want to just be alone for this game tonight. Am I a psycho or what?
No, I run into the same problem with my wife with Ohio State. She's a huge Ohio State fan. I'll try to get her to go out to bar. She hates it when people root against her. She won't leave the house. She has to watch it with either an Ohio State backers bar or at home. She will not go out. Does not like people rooting against her. And you had touched on something earlier, and I'm going to kind of take a look at it here. But when a team is playing well and they're not winning, I kind of like that because a lot of people will look at the final results. And if you watch these teams like Montreal, I know Vegas, if a team looks good and but doesn't get the win, that's great because we're going to get a better line next time it's out. And of course, it's just the opposite. If you're looking for a team and they're not playing well, but they find a way to win, we could take advantage of that too. And that's one of the things with game like hockey, which can, it's not like a lot of other sports where one team does not have there's no guarantee. How many times we've talked about this before? And how many times has there been a $4 or $5 favorite, and then like Colorado the other day, they were like a $5 favorite and they lose outright. This is the kind of sport that if you're not in it fully, the other team could beat you on any single day.
100%. And it's more so just I care so much that I almost would feel rude to the people that I'm hanging out with because I don't really want to talk to them.
Yeah, you'd be ignored. It's like going out with Prez and he's in your ear and you're like, leave me alone, I'm trying to watch a game.
It's I'm focused on something else. So we'll see. Go. I'm excited for this game and I can't wait. But my betting instinct tells me the under's the play. And I really do believe that there's a chance, Buffalo's still in the mix, but if you like either of these teams, you probably should take them to win the division because the odds will change tomorrow. Okay, Brian, let's talk just really quick here. A great special up and available at wagertalk.com. Anybody interested in the rest of the regular season plus the playoffs? I would advise people to take a look, lock and load here, wt.buzz/AM or BL. Look, plain and simple, we were talking about this before the show. Sometimes you release plays at different times. You might release a play overnight, in the morning, after morning skate, in the afternoon. And the fact is, you guys might be busy with your kids or family or work or different things, and you might not be able to hop on and grab that play. But if you buy this package, you're going to get every pick sent right to your email, and you can get it right to your mobile device as well if you set those notifications. And I feel like that's the way to go. So anybody that wants to lock and load with us for the playoffs, this is the deal to use. And I know, Brian, you're involved in a couple other sports as well. You're doing baseball and a lot of content with that. I'm doing some low volume baseball, and CFL for me, crazy to say, but it's like a month and a half away. Training camps get going soon. So it's a great time of year, and people forget about all these sports are all done. We're excited about stuff going on. But if you want just hockey, this is a fantastic deal here, Brian. And you've talked about it a lot. You love the playoffs. There's money to be made in the playoffs. And some people say that's the time that they stop handicapping sports. You and I are on the same page. It's time to make some money.
Yeah, when you can play the same team every single game and you don't have to worry about the schedule, you know who's going to play. Coaching means much more in the playoffs than it does in the regular season, because you're facing a team, sometimes you go in a full 7 games, and if the better coaching is most of the time is going to come out and be able to make those adjustments. And you want to see that. I don't want to see, Colorado play in Dallas and then they don't play them again for 3 more weeks. And then everything's totally different. And one team's in a back-to-back and the other team's had 3 days off. This is everybody in the playoffs has got the same scheduling situation, and you're able to make those adjustments. And that's why I think, in hockey, we see it all the time. Just because you have the best record in the regular season does not mean you win the championship. In fact, most of the time you don't. Yeah. So, there's plenty of chances to make money if you really know the sport. And I know you and Carmine have been doing this a lot longer than I have. But, hey, we've had a lot of success in that regard. And the playoffs, to me, are the easiest time to bet.
Well, I'm rooting for you. I think we should all root for each other. Let's make some money in the playoffs. 4 or 5 games left in the regular season. Let's keep the train on the track here. But first, I got to say this, a comment from Rex. Been a half decade, but when the Flyers are playing a playoff game, I can't sit down, pace around the room for 3 hours. I can expect. I absolutely love it. That is called passion.
Yes,
that is called dedication there. Okay, Wild and Stars. This is quite interesting, Brian, because these are the teams we're going to see when it comes to the playoffs. Now, I'm going to kind of try my best to make some type of I don't know, baseball analogy maybe. When you talk about a let's say there was a series already locked in, right? Would you want the pitcher for game 1 of that series to go in game 1 and you can get a chance to see all their pitches, right? Do you want everybody to know what you're all about? Do you think the winner of this game really matters at all when it comes to the first round playoffs? Because I will tell you, there's going to be so many people putting out their opinions, and they're going to say, well, back on April 9th, Dallas beat Minnesota, and that's why I'm taking them, and that's a load of crap, because it's okay to take into account the season series, but it's not the biggest deal in the world, Brian. So which team do you think this game means the most to?
Normally I would agree with you 100%, but there's a couple things here that I think would point me to a side. Right now, Dallas and Minnesota both have 78 games played, so they only got 4 games left. Dallas is sitting at 104. Minnesota is sitting at 102. Now, if Dallas wins every game in regular, they win the rest of their games, they get 112 points. Right now, Colorado's got 112 points, but they got 5 games to go. So the games for Colorado right now do not mean nearly as much as it does for the others. And I don't really think at this point that Dallas thinks they can catch Colorado and tie and win points. So, but one reason I think Dallas is motivated is because they really haven't played well. Their last 10 games have gone 3-5-2. Nobody wants to do that. You don't want to back into the playoffs because if you're not ready to play, you could be out after the first round. Now, Minnesota's played the much better hockey as of late. They're 7-3. Their last 10, they won 4 straight games. But the Minnesota motivation is, I didn't realize this until today. Dallas, the last 17 times they have played Minnesota has only beat them once in regulation. Now they're at 10-1-6. So they have lost some of those games in overtime, but as we talk about, regular season overtime is totally different. There's not the shootouts in overtime. I think Minnesota needs to prove to themselves so they can beat Dallas in regulation. So they've got that kind of motivation. I think the line, I somewhat favor the Dallas Stars here, but with that motivation for Minnesota, probably will keep me off the game. But I do favor Dallas slightly.
Yeah, I think just like looking at this spot here, and you bring up the head-to-head stuff, that's always interesting to look at. And I look at the Dallas side, as much as Minnesota went out and picked up Quinn Hughes and they made some trades and things like that, if you think about it, Dallas has been the side hasn't been able to take that next step for the last, like they probably should have been in the Stanley Cup one of the last 4 or 5 years.
Agree.
Pete DeBoer, he just got hired by the Islanders. That guy is the best first-round coach in the world, but might be the worst third-round coach in the world, right? Like, he always gets there, and you look at the amount of teams he's played for, obviously a fantastic coach, and then he pulls Jake Ottinger. That was people thought that Ottinger was going to want to leave the team if DeBoer didn't get fired, and we know what happened there, Brian. The coach goes, the player stays, which is how that stuff usually goes. But yeah, for me, looking at this game here, Minnesota, and one thing about it, actually, I had this pulled up earlier. I got to find this. Looking at the schedule for Minnesota, they had a couple road games, and what was it? Here we go. On the road, Panthers. On the road, Bruins. Then they're home for 1. On the road, Senators. On the road, Red Wings. And then back home for 1. This team hasn't really had a chance to sleep in their own beds for a consistent couple days here, Brian. If I was an NHL player or pro athlete, I would honestly rather play 4 games on the road, 4 games at home, 4 games on the road. Like this whole 1 game back at home thing and then 1 game back on the road thing, I feel like that kind of messes with you a little bit. And let's not kid ourselves. The game that the Minnesota Wild are coming off of, the Seattle Kraken have just crashed and burned. Like, this is a team that we were talking about as a playoff team. And then they've completely gone away. So I don't know. I'm not really impressed with how the Wild have been looking lately. So I kind of do lean to the favorite in this one, Brian. I do. Just because of kind of the implications here and just the data. Looking at the goaltending stuff, though, which is kind of interesting to break down here. Philip Gustafson, last 3 games, .862 save percentage, goals against 4 per game. Meanwhile, you've got Jake Ottinger, goals against per game, 2.33 his last 3. So kind of lean towards Dallas. But the big thing I'm going to say for this game, again, I'll just repeat it, is that whatever happens in this game, if hockey was a bigger sport and you had guys like Stephen A. Smith covering hockey, they would say, wow, it's not even going to be close in the playoffs. It's not even going to be close, right? Like, if any team dominates tonight, people are going to set the stage for the whole playoff matchup, right?
If Stephen A. Smith is talking anything but NBA, you can completely ignore him. If he's talking NBA, you can half ignore him. The last time Minnesota played back-to-back home games was on the 21st of March, and that was against this Dallas team. They beat Dallas 2-1 in overtime. Yeah, I agree. I one of my handicapping angles is how many times did this team have to fly? How many times did they have to travel? And that's a big thing. And they don't have to worry about that in the playoffs because you're playing the same team every single game. Both teams will have the same advantage or disadvantage in that regard. But yeah, you mentioned Seattle. Ottawa was a good victory, but they beat Vancouver, who has been out of it for a while. They beat Detroit, who does their congratulations on your chart you put up the other day about Detroit, a team that fades down the last part of the season. And Seattle's another team. So what they've got the victories, but where's their signature win? And so, yeah, it's Dallas or nothing for me here.
I am a little bit concerned that the price isn't a little bit bigger, seeing as it is in Dallas. Is that fair to say, Brian?
As you pointed out, the motivation here, you don't know what the motivation is because the teams are going to play each other. And if this was another sport where you would throw out, like it's in baseball, and you throw out guys, have a bullpen game or something, or this is the guy you want to use to start your first game of the series, you can do. In hockey, you get laid out if you try to change that. Yeah, they may play the starters a little bit less, but you're either in or you're out in hockey. There's no in between.
Yeah, I think the goal for both these teams will be to stay healthy. Stay healthy will be important. I will have some player props in a couple short minutes in this game. That will be the feature game for the player prop segment coming up. Guys, Don Buster, 5% play for him in hockey today. We got to mention that. He has been phenomenal with his 5% plays, not just in hockey, but he smashed a 5% play on the Tampa Bay Rays first 5 innings. His baseball has been pretty good as well. So give Buster some love and check him out, wt.buzz/DBS. You know how great Buster is? He gets 3 letters for his initials, not even just 2 like we do. DBS for Buster, guys. wt.buzz/DBS. And Brian, as I mentioned off the top, look, you and I know it's a daily grind with baseball. Your team could have 9 hits on the day and they could lose. It doesn't matter. It's all about getting runners in with scoring position. Did lose that 4% yesterday. I'm back in action, though, with 1 play today, but it's not a 4, it's a 3% play. But I got a great deal going. We're getting that set up, and anybody can DM me to get involved at McInnis Picks. But we're going to do the rest of the NHL season plus 30 days of my baseball. I feel like it's like a tryout period. You guys, hey, maybe you don't want to buy the rest of my NHL plus the full MLB season, but we're going to go with the rest of the NHL plus 30 days of my baseball, see how I handicap the sport. Plus, you're going to get every single thing that I release in the playoffs. And as we keep on saying, for example, I pretty much cut out player props from my regular season handicapping, Brian. And I go on it more in the playoffs. And some people might say, well, there's less goals. There's less. I mean, to me, there's less variance. Like the top guys score more and consistently in the playoffs. Like you're going to have depth, but it's easier for me to read. And when it comes to line combos and stuff, you don't really have to worry about some line change being made like a second before the game. So NHL package plus 30 days of MLB is what I'm rocking with. How about yourself?
Yeah, we've got our package for Major League Baseball. 3-3 yesterday, 14-7 run in Major League Baseball. I've got 3 plays up for you today. We've got our specials going for hockey as well as baseball. You can check those out on the website. Number 1 all-time in Major League Baseball. Net profit, number 1 all-time in NHL net profit. And it's interesting because every team, if you're not watching the games, you really got to pay a lot of attention. Like right now, I'm getting texts from, being here in Vegas, I'm getting a lot of texts from people I know saying, hey, the Golden Knights have turned it around. They played Vancouver twice. Let's wait and see what happens here. And, from a prop perspective, none of their frontline guys are scoring. None of their forwards are scoring. I believe the last 2 games, all the goals have been from been from defensive guys. So, yeah, you got to keep up. If you're doing props every day, you got to keep up with things. And obviously, Tortorella has changed everything. And so now the defensive guys are getting more on in the rush. So maybe we can find, if you're looking for props from here on out, maybe Vegas betting some of those big money underdogs on the defensive guys to score a goal, something like that. But it changes all the time, and that's why you've got to be able to keep up with hockey. You got to keep up with everything. The coaching changes, the goaling changes, players getting injured, which unfortunately in hockey, as tough as those guys are, it's tough to play every game of the season in hockey, and you're going to get hurt once in a while.
Yeah, definitely important to follow the injury reports, the beat reporters, and all that good stuff. 300 of you guys watching live right now across multiple platforms. Brian and I appreciate it, guys. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on X, hit the retweet, hit the repost, show your friends, share the video. We're trying to give you guys some NHL winners. one game coming up to break down here, guys. Then we're going to go to a couple different segments. If you guys have any games you want us to touch on quickly and just give a quick thought, if we have them, put them in the comments. I'll try and blast through them. We'll give some thoughts, but it's very important you guys put those in the comments section. We want to appease you guys, but we also have a couple games that you know that we go in depth to a little bit more. And also, I will flash this up because I'm curious. And, well, it's my favorite team. Who do you guys have winning tonight? The Canadiens or the Lightning? Cast your vote, guys. We'll show the winner of the results at the end of the video. So very, very curious. Who wins tonight? Montreal Canadiens or the Tampa Bay Lightning? You guys can click on that poll on your streaming platforms, and we'll find out who the answer is for that one. Okay, Brian, let's finish off the deeper dives, at least, with San Jose and Anaheim. Man, oh man, oh man, what a game last night, San Jose and Edmonton. And now you're going to get a pissed off Anaheim team that, I don't know if you caught my rant yesterday, but I had the over for the Ducks team total. Their expected goals were 5, and they lost the game. That was tough. And they didn't just lose the game. They didn't really score at all. So what do you think about this game right now, looking at the Sharks and the Ducks?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised the line was as high as it was. Now, obviously, San Jose had to play and travel. They had a tough game yesterday, but you're looking at Anaheim right now between 160, basically it's early in the morning. Who knows how this is settled, but 156 all the way up to 170 in certain spots, 175 I'm even seeing out there at DraftKings. But do you really trust Anaheim in this situation? They have not played well as of late. San Jose, the loss yesterday hurt them. They have played much better on the road this year than they have in the past. But it's an interesting situation because I think there's value on San Jose, but it's the second of a back-to-back. And I believe the last 8 games on the road, they've gone 3-5. So not as hot as they were earlier, but you take a look at Anaheim. That's a team that's rested. This will only be their second game in 5 days. They were shut out last time out to Nashville. They had lost the 2 prior home games. They have not played well at all right now. But if you are somebody who thinks you try to be a spot player, that's where I think the line comes into effect here with Anaheim. That's why the line is high. They play tonight, then they get 2 days off, and then they get to play Vancouver at home. So they've been home for quite some time. The Vancouver game, nothing is guaranteed, but Vancouver really is not playing well, and they're been long out of it. This is a game they need to have. This, even though they're ahead of San Jose in the playoff race, and they're still likely to make the playoffs here, I think the Ducks need to have this game. But as we always say, if you need to win, you were not that great in the first place. I think there's value on San Jose here.
That's a good point, Brian. If you needed to win, you're not that great in the first place. I get it. Because if it must win, look, you put yourself in that spot. But I'll tell you that the track record of just some of these plays I've made, whether it's taking the over or whether it's taking one team to go over, when a team puts up, you follow the analytics. Sometimes you have a goal that you shouldn't have scored, right? So it doesn't really count as an expected goal. So you might win 4-2, but your expected goals could have been 2.6, whatever. This is a team that had, from my numbers, it was 4.58 or 4.98 expected goals here, Brian, and they lost 5-0. You got to think this to me is a team that ran into a hot goaltender. So I'll tell you what, both teams to score first period, over 1.5 first period. Yesterday, the San Jose and Edmonton game over almost seemed too easy. And I got to stop thinking like that, because sometimes when something looks good to you, you got to just play it. And today with this game, it's kind of how I feel. I haven't been using the office shutout angle as much lately, but man, this seems good to me. And if you lean towards that side, I'm not sure if I'll get to the window. I'll tell you, I was leaning towards the Ducks team total again, because it's kind of like this. Sometimes when I used to lose plays in the fashion that I did with the Ducks, right? I'd be mad at them. I wouldn't want to back them again for a while, right? But it doesn't mean like, they're not going to win tonight. And then, of course, it's like that. What's that saying? Like day late, dollar short, or you're early sometimes even. Like if you back a pitcher one day in baseball and they screw you and then they win their next outing, you're like, oh, where was that when I backed him before, right? Like, I'm sure that's how all the Paul Skeens backers were thinking on opening day. So for that reason, I'm looking towards some goals, because you talk about it a lot where the final score is not often indicative of what actually went out there on the ice. And 5 expected goals and they got shut out. Maybe I'm mad because I lost my pick, but I think that this game is going to have some pop to it. And I don't think San Jose is capable of playing the under tonight. I just don't think they are. I think it's going to be an over game.
I wouldn't argue with that. You take a look at what Anaheim has done defensively so far this month. Gave up 5 to Nashville, 5 to Calgary, 6 to St. Louis, 4 to this same San Jose team that they played on the first of the month. So it is a somewhat of a quick rebound here for Anaheim, but do you really trust them defensively? The over 1.5 in the first period, because you would figure Anaheim, after being shut out and then they're playing this team, they're playing the second of a back-to-back. Yeah, that first period over 1.5 would be something I'd have an interest in.
Look for fireworks right out the gate. Fireworks right out the gate. And when it comes down to it, Brian, sometimes you try and make a case for a team defensively. And if you can't, that should be the full indication that, hey, if you have to really work hard to try and find a case for something, then it probably means that this team's not capable of it. Connor McDavid with 5 points last night, though. A great game for him last night. Okay, a lot to get to in a short period of time. We've got Carmine's 6 and 60 here. Let's bring it up. Carmine, this is for Saturday. Sorry, this is for today because there is no Friday show, so he wants to get ahead of it. So this is a special version of the 6 and 60 here for today. So Carmine's plays for you guys, and hopefully this answers some questions you guys might have about some games here. Islanders money line, Toronto and New York. Islanders money line. Philadelphia, Detroit. He's taking Philadelphia on the money line. Florida and Ottawa. He is taking Ottawa in regulation time. Calgary, Colorado. He is taking Colorado on the puck line. San Jose, Anaheim. He is taking a look at San Jose to win that one. Vancouver and Los Angeles. He is taking Los Angeles Kings to win that one in reg. So LA, San Jose, Colorado, Ottawa, Philly, and the New York Islanders. Isn't it fun to be able to fade the Vancouver Canucks? I mean, they won that one game against Colorado, Brian, and then after that, that's been just about it from them. That's been all we've really seen.
Well, they played pretty well against Vegas the other day. It was 1-1 late, and they played very good defense against Vegas, so they didn't have much of a scoring. They didn't put up many shots on goal, I'll tell you that. In fact, they went, I believe, like 16 minutes before they had their first shot on goal against Vegas in that game. So, yeah, every game is different, but being able to find certain spots where you think something's going to happen, or even the beginning of games, having the 3 periods here and getting that first period out there, and knowing teams that are good in certain periods also helps. If you know a team gets better as the game goes on, or if they get better when they're losing or whatever, live betting is the way to go.
Yeah, you talked about that before. Do you live bet? Like, what's the most common period you live bet? Is it after the first period or second period?
It's something that we see. If a team dominates the first period, I usually like to fade them in the second period because the other team makes the adjustments. Certain teams like Vegas never seems to get off to a good start. They don't take that lead early. They are very good at falling behind. Anytime they're down 2 goals, I usually play Vegas in some way, especially if it's going into the third period, because they've been really good in the third period. They've been terrible in the first. And if you can find every team that's like that, I remember back years ago when the Utah Jazz had a lot of veteran players on that. After a loss, I knew they were coming out to play. So I play Utah in the next game, Utah first quarter. If you know your teams, you can make these spots. And there's certain teams that are very good in just picking out early or late situations, and live betting also helps.
Absolutely. Okay. We've got a couple questions here, a couple live comments. Can you talk about the Flyers versus the Red Wings game here in this one? Brian, the Red Wings, I mean, if we're going to talk about teams that are, you already talked about that graphic I brought up, but disappointing their fan base, and the Flyers, they're doing the exact opposite. They're giving their fans hope that they might be back into the postseason. Is this a game where it's one of those ones, hey, back the hot team, fade the team that's cold, or can the Red Wings still show some life?
Yeah, if I play it, I'm taking the Flyers. Take a look at what they've done on the road this year, 22, 13, and 4. That, if you can win on the road consistently in the NHL, you're a good team. Now, obviously, the Rangers win on the road every time. They were horrendous at home this year. They've lost 68% of their games at home. But Detroit is only 20, 15, and 4 now at home. They've been outscored by 10 goals on the season. Philadelphia is actually positive now with +1. If I'm playing Philadelphia in this game, and I'm kind of surprised you can still catch them at plus money in a few places. I trust Philadelphia at this point. I don't trust Detroit.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd be taking a leap of faith if I took my money and put it on Detroit right now. Nashville plus money tonight, playing hard. Look, I agree, but you know what? A lot of the stuff that I'm seeing from Nashville is unsustainable. The penalty kill, the numbers are astronomical right now. They're so good, they can't sustain that. Some of their big guys are stepping up, scoring goals. Steven Stamkos, I mean, think about this guy. This guy's going to score 40 goals, and people thought he was having a bad year back in November, December. Look, I'll say it. I'll say it again. Utah, if you put them in Edmonton Oilers jerseys, in Canada, we'd be talking about that team being an unbelievable hockey team. This is a good team, Utah. They're competitive. They can score. They have decent goaltending. I think that Utah gets the job done, so we'll see. And I'm going to throw you this hard one while I load up my props here. So good luck with this one, Brian. Give an early prediction on Tampa in Boston this Saturday. I feel like a lot of that has to do with really what goes on tonight against Montreal, so it's hard to handicap that. But any thoughts?
Yeah, I wait for this game to be over and see how this game is played before the next day, which is one of the reasons why it's so hard for me to put up like overnight baseball, because I want to see what the team does tonight. And in baseball, it's very important because you got to see how many relievers and which relievers are used. But yeah, it all depends on the situation. If Tampa Bay gets this victory tonight, what's their motivation? The last 3 games, we'll have to see. Yeah, I can't speak that far in advance. I'm not Carmine with this 6-60 for a day or 2 ahead.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough to give out those couple days early, that's for sure. All right, Brian, I've got some props for us here. Then we've got Carmine's play of the day. We'll close out the show. Here we go. I promised you we would touch on Minnesota and Dallas. We're going to take a look at a couple defensemen here. Miro Heiskanen, 1+ point. Wyatt Johnston, a 1+ point. Matt Duchene, 1+ point. And Brock Faber, 1+ point. Here's the deal. Most of the time, Brock Faber is out there with Quinn Hughes. You just get a much better price. It kind of reminds me of Devon Toews playing with Cale Makar. If your line mate out there is the guy that gets all the points as a defenseman, chances are if you're on the ice, you have opportunity to get some points as well. Wyatt Johnston's been playing some unbelievable hockey. I would argue he's one of the most underrated players in the league right now. And I kind of joked earlier with Brian about, which players or teams this game would mean something to. I think as a veteran player, Matt Duchene wants to set the tone for that playoff matchup. I think he gets involved tonight. So as we had a comment coming in from Freethinker05 talking about how shots on goals can be frustrating. I get it. So today we're taking 4 players to just get us 1 single point at plus 550 odds. For the play of the day, oh my God, these timestamps are not going to be fun to deal with. Thank you so much for these graphics, Carm. Play of the day, New York Islanders minus 130 in regulation. Carmine's got that bankroll up pretty high there, 7,440. So taking care of business. And hey, if you don't cash the play at least have a good laugh at this graphic. Probably one of the better ones we've seen all season, Brian. So the play of the day from Carmine, Islanders -130 in regulation time. Brian, thanks so much, as always, for coming on here and working with me, putting up with me, blabbing about hockey for 45 minutes with you. Any closing thoughts?
Other than Buster hates this movie, he said in the he thinks it's one of the most overrated. I love this movie. Yeah, it's a long movie, but it's a good movie. It's a classic. How could Buster hate this? Those damn Canadian Mexicans.
I guess maybe they show it too much in Mexico on TV.
I don't know. Yeah, there's not a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue. You don't need to know. You should speak English to understand this movie.
Yeah, exactly. There's not much that goes on. Okay, get Brian's picks, guys. WT.buzz/BL, myself, WT.buzz/AM. Let's make some money, guys. And once again, DM me at McInnis Picks. I'll get you guys hooked up with that NHL and MLB special. Take care, and we will see you tomorrow live on X and posted to YouTube later. Every game on the board video live. Ian Cameron joins me at Bobano Bets, joins me to go over every single game on the board on Saturday in the NHL. It's the last Saturday of the season. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.